Hey guys, so once you've actually made your student account, what we're going to do is actually sign in. So we're going to hit the sign in button in the upper right hand corner. Now it already knows who I am, so put in your CCSD email and your password. You can see my other accounts and such in here. And we'll sign in. Once you actually sign in, yours is going to look a little different than mine because I have a whole bunch of parts and stuff in here that I've been working on. So I also have some folders and some other various parts. But let's take and talk a little bit about what's in here. So first off, we're in Owned by Me. So this is all the stuff that's owned by me. We have our recently opened stuff. This is stuff I've worked on recently. This is stuff I've created. This is the stuff that's been shared with me. You can see some other various students and stuff have shared some various documents and things with me. You can label stuff if you wish. We also have the public stuff as well. So this right here is all of the public files. You guys can take a look at these if you want. There's some cool stuff in there. Let's go back to Owned by Me. Now up here is our create button. If we take and click on it, we have creating documents, which is what we're primarily going to use. You could do folders and such to organize them. There's some other stuff in here as well, but those two are the most important. If we go on the upper right hand corner, we can see the actual account. There's not much in here to actually see, but you're welcome to look, I guess. You can also take and switch over to the Clark County School District. Now, if we take and switch over to the Clark County School District, it's going to look a little bit different on your guys' side here than on my side, but I'll take and show you guys anyway. Once you're actually over here, I can take and see all of the activity. I'm not going to take and pull it all the way up, but I can see all of the activity that's done on here. And we can look at everybody's various documents. There's not a lot at the moment here, but that'll change here soon. And then we can take and look at any other various data and such that actually happens on the site. So for you guys, not super critical, we're going to take and click back over to our regular account. Now we also have the Learning Center. I would suggest you guys check it out. It's pretty cool. They do have apps in here as well. There's some cool ones in there. Take a look if you want to. Now what we're actually going to do is create a document here, and this is going to get into our first assignment. So if we take and hit create, we're going to go into a document. Now what I want you guys to do with this is to actually label this with your name. Okay, first name underscore last name. Super important you do it that way. Make sure you do it. We're going to take and hit create. Once you actually take and hit the create button, it's going to take and pull you into this document. And you can see we can move this around and do some various stuff with it. So let me take and talk about some different things that we can do. So one, I can take and right click on my mouse and move this around. I can use a wheel on the mouse to zoom in and out. That's pretty good. I've got this little box over here. I can right click on that to move it around. And I can take and even click on the various sides in order to get a particular side that I want to look at. Now there's some other various views down here as well. If I want to do an isometric view, I could do that. Now if we take and come down here to the bottom left, we have the Part Studio 1. What we're going to do with this is take and right click on it, and we want to actually go to rename. Once you're in a rename, we're actually going to take and call this Donut, as Donut's going to be our first assignment. So once it's actually labeled Donut, now we need to actually select one of these planes. Now you could do any one you want, but I like doing the top. So I'm going to select the top. Now we could also come over here and click on this to select the top, same thing. And then what we can do is either right click on this and go new sketch, or we can hit the sketch button on the top. It does the same. It opens up this little sketch block and gives us something to work on. Now you guys can see the sketching on this is not particularly easy because it moves all over the place. So what I've found to be a really good way to do it is either right click and go view normal to sketch plane, or we can simply come over here and select what side we're actually on, such as the top. I'm going to zoom out just a little bit, make it a little more kind of centered on my screen. Now we're going to actually take and create some parts here. Now, notice we're inside of the sketch. We've got this little window on it. So with this, we have all of our sketch tools pop up on the top. Now with that, we're going to actually take and start with our circle. We want to take and we can hit this little down arrow and we can go off our center point circle. I like using that one. That's why we're going to do it. So we're going to come over here to the center. I like building stuff off the center. It gives me a place to work from. But we're going to take and click on this and we're just going to take and pull this out. Now I do not care what those dimensions are whatsoever. So don't even worry about it. We're just going to pull it out. We're going to click again and you can see that it pulls up this little white box and that's going to be our dimensions. We're going to do 1.5. There we go. Now we're going to do the same thing over again. We're going to take and click on this. We're going to pull it out and we're going to take and click on it. Now for this one here, we're going to take and type in 2.75 and such on it. But let's take and say that we actually took and maybe we made a bit of a mistake. Maybe we clicked somewhere out here and now we've got a weird circle we don't know what to do with. What we can do here is simply right click and hit escape circle. By doing that, it basically kicks us out of the circle tool here. Now if I click back into it, I can make another circle, but let's say I did that by accident. We can also hit the escape key on the keyboard as that does the same thing. Now, let's take and say that this particular dimension that we called out on here, let's say we forgot to do that. Maybe we hit a button and then now we don't have that. I want to take and show you guys up here, they have the dimension tool. What you can do is click on this dimension tool and what we can do is just hover over this line, click on it, and then pull it out. And now we can type in that same dimension. And there we go. We got it. Now this right here is really our first assignment. We're going to make these two circles. We're going to make one at 1.5 inches and the other at 2.75 inches. And then we're going to come over here and we're going to look at our extrude button. Now notice our sketch is still open. We don't want to end it and close this out. We want to leave that sketch open. And when we do that, we're just going to hit our extrude button. And then what it does is this website here, this software, will just guess and figure, okay, I see you want to extrude that. Obviously, you're making a donut. So there we go. It makes a donut. Now, it has this little bar right here, this little arrow, I should say. And this allows us to move this thing around back and forth to make this whatever dimension we want. But we can also come over here and actually call that dimension out. What we're going to do is we're going to make this into an 1/8 of an inch. 1/8 of an inch is 0.125 inches. However, so you guys know, we can also just type in 1 divided by 8. That actually works the same way. Now, it does have this little arrow right here. We can flip direction on that if we want it. We'll leave it like that. There's some other settings and stuff in here. We'll talk about those later. So now we are done. We're going to take and hit our green arrow, and there is our part. Now you guys can see over here on the left-hand side, we do have part 1, because that is part 1. We even have this little eyeball right here on the side, and if we click on that eyeball, we can take and hide our part. We also take and have our sketch. We can do that same thing. If you guys click on it, you can see the dotted line pops up because that's our sketch. And we have our extrude and such as well. Now, we also have this little rollback bar. This is super cool because we can take and click on this and we can actually pull this back and there we go. Now we can take and work back on our sketch. It basically just cuts out this extrude. We don't want to worry about it, but we don't want to delete it. So then we can take our rollback bar, slide it back to the bottom, and there we go. Our extrusion comes back. All right, I'm going to take and hide our sketch here. There's our part. That's what our first assignment is going to be. Now, notice here, guys, we're still in this first name underscore last name document, and we just took and labeled this down here as donut. That's what I want you guys to do. Okay, that's it for this assignment.